Hey guys, welcome back to Sun Crypto. In today's content, we're going to talk about BTC, and we're going to talk about BTC on the macro scale. I know it's been a while since we talked about the macro scale, because as you can see on the macro scale, we got a both bullish and bearish setup. But we're going to talk about the bearish setup first, right? Before we basically talk about the bullish setup. So basically, it is all going to based on WXY correction. I might talk about the MACD. I'm going to talk about the MACD, also the 5-day MACD with the bullish. With a bullish divergence on the 5-day MACD, which is very bullish and could give us a could give bears some tough time in terms of like a further push to the upside if the divergence basically going to be playing out as expected, at least for the short term. So we're going to talk about BTC first thing first on the macro scale. As you can see, we got two we got a macro scale and basically a medium term scale, right? The macro scale I'm basically referring to, it is basically the 20k basically and 3k level, all right? So and basically 14k. As you can see in Elliott wave, we got something called WXY correction. Not sometime, but most all the time, WXY correction is a combination of multiple correction. You can get a zigzag, triangle, flat, and all type of descending, parallel, whatever type of correction you can find. You can basically you can find it in Elliott wave WXY correction, right? So first thing first. So as you can see, I'm just gonna basically do it manually before I show you the setup, right? So let's go on Bitstamp. Let's clean up the chart. All right. So as you can see, we got a parabolic move up to like a 20k level, a 3k level of bottom just about 3k, another move up to 14k. All right, all of these moves are basically just correction. None of these moves are pretty much a bull run. Yes, you can call it a bull run if you're basically very bullish for a move from 3k to 14k. You could say like we got a 6 month, 4 month bull run. But in terms of like a macro scale 4 years bull run, it is just a correction of the previous macro scale from 200 to 20k level, right? So what is basically a WXY correction? A WXY correction is a combination of multiple correction. As you can see, from 20k to 3k, BTC gave us multiple correction. We got a beautiful impulse wave down, okay, in 3 wave, and after that we got a triangle, all right, and after that we got another impulse wave. So this move, you could call it itself a clean ABC correction. You got A, B, and C. You could even call it WXY, but it'll be very confusing if I call it WXY. For some of you guys are not pretty much advanced with WXY, right? But WXY, like I said, it is a combination of multiple correction. As you can see, we got 3-way move pullback, A, B, and C. Okay, the first pullback was just about 6k, and then we made a descending triangle. Everybody thought like a BC bottom because they did not understand descending triangle. We capitulated down with 8.618 extension all the way down to like a 3k level. After that, what did the bulls did, right? The bulls basically gave us another impulse wave to the upside. As you can see, the impulse wave did not break the previous high. Okay, it did not break the previous high, which was 14k. So we basically call it what? An X, right? Even though it was a clean 5 waves, because we did not break basically 20k, we have to call it X. Even though the move was impulse, you can cleanly find a 5-wave move up, but you just have to call it X because we did not break the previous top, right? So we call it X, and then basically, what are we looking for? If we're assuming that's an X, right, we just have to assume we got to get another Y correction to the downside, right? So this is going to give us our W, X at 14k, right? And then we're going to be looking for a Y correction. And most of the time, your Y correction, it basically tends to basically break your W. So, but just to be conservative, let's just assume it is going to be at or below 3k level, right? Okay, so we basically expand the macro scale WXY correction and what we're looking for, at least for the short term, and why we're anticipating in terms of bearishness for BTC basically to retest at or below 3k level. Okay, it is because we're expecting another Y correction to the downside, right? So now the Y correction itself, as you can see, it is basically replicating this move right there. it is replicating what we made in this area, okay, in terms of like a ABC correction. We made a, let me just remove this. Okay, so we made a, we made a multiple correction in this range, and we basically anticipated it since like a 14K. We said we're going to drop down to a basically 72, 7400, and BC surprisingly gave us another move to the upside up to like a 10.5, and we anticipated another WXY, not on the macro scale but the medium term, from like a 14K to basically 3K level down to 3K. It is basically replicating what we made in this area in terms of ABC, but it is making it in terms of WXY correction, right? So you take a look at it. We made a beautiful three-way move down, right? We made another X, just like the X we made at 14K. You just assuming this is 20, this is 3, and basically that's your 14, and you're expecting basically BC to drop down within this level, right? So it made already a, a three-way move pullback, but this three-way move pullback, right, it is not basically retesting the macro scale wide. So what does it mean? It means instead of a three-way move, it is going to make a four-way move, which is going to be actually 5, right, which is going to be a WXY XZ correction, right? So as you can see, instead of a WXY, we could be anticipating W, X, Y, X, and Z correction. And this Z, okay, it is going to finalize the macro scale, right? You guys remember, we already started from 20K, and we're looking for BTC to retest what? At or below 3K. So it has to basically, this Y correction has to basically complete this move, okay? So that's what we're looking for, at least for the short term. So instead of I was looking at this move as a WXY, but this, since like the current move we're making from 4K to the 8K is very impulsive. It can even go higher, okay? It can go all the way up to like a, it can even at least go to like a, not at least, but it can retest like a 10.5. It's not going to change anything about the macro scale, because we just have to change the basically change the count. But even if it goes to a 10.5, we got another feasible count to look for another move to the downside, right? So at least for the short term, this move we're looking for it to be an X, another X, and then we're going to be looking for this Z to the downside, and then that Z gonna complete the macro scale Y. All right, so what does it mean? So if I remove everything, we just focus on I'm just gonna focus now on this move, right? So I can explain it better, right? So as you can see, we got a move W, we got X, we got Y. We're looking for this Y, and then excuse me, it's gonna be W, X, Y, X, and Z correction. Okay, so that's what we're looking for, at least for the short term. This X move to the upside, right? As I just said, right, it's not tapping out yet, okay? It has to give us a reversal pattern. It can go all the way up to 10.5, okay? It's not going to change anything about the structure. We can still look for this move to be corrective, and then we're going to be looking for this move to the downside. As I stated previously, you guys remember when BTC basically gave us this move, right? When BTC gave us this move, what we said we're going to be making this move. But as you can see, it is the same exact structure. It is the same exact structure. We got this move, right? We got this impulse down. We can still make this move, right, and get this correction to the downside. It's just going to be another impulse wave, and then we're going to be looking at it as a WXYXZ correction. So XRP also made the same structure. I just don't have time to show you XRP. XRP made the same structure like last year or something like that, right? Before the impulse moved down to like a 10 cents level. So we just have to keep in mind, BTC can be temporarily, at least for a short term, up to the halving or past the halving, be very bullish and go all the way up to like a 10K or even 10.5 level, right? But it's not, it's not going to be like, it's not going to be a bull run like expecting like a 20K, 30K BTC. It is going to be part of the structure for BTC to go up to like a 10K, retest the previous top, and still do this move to the downside, right? So let's keep that in mind, at least for the short term. Another pattern, it is nothing to do with Elliott wave, but you just have to be very careful, right? Just giving you guys a heads up, right? If and only if BTC like basically push to the upside at 10K, and we get this rejection, we're gonna be we could be like a move making an impulse wave to the downside, right? We have to be very careful, because as soon as we retest the previous low in this level, people are gonna tell you it is going to be a basically a head and shoulder, right? And they're going to be anticipating this move, just like most people were anticipating BC to make this move, right? This head and shoulder, right? Just have to be very careful, because I was like, this is a flat correction. Do not try to anticipate what a head and shoulder, but people have been anticipating this to be a cup and handle, blah blah blah. So it is very, very important to basically plan ahead, because market going to be very, very volatile. It's going to be very crazy if and only if we go up to like a 10.5. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to retest 10.5, but I'm going to show you on the MACD, on the 5-day MACD, right? You take a look at the 5-day MACD. We talked about this move like a long time ago, guys, and I was like, if the MACD gonna give us this move, even though I was bearish, right, we're just gonna have to basically be very moderate and not try to be extremely bearish. All right, so that's what I was trying to tell you. Even though we're looking for a retest of 3K, the MACD 5-day MACD giving us this bullish divergence. As you can see, price is basically making this move, and MACD is 5-day MACD is basically giving us the divergence. It is very bullish. It is nothing you can say like unless you're blind or something like that, you're not going to see this bullishness, but it doesn't mean it's going to play out. But at least for the short term, we have a bullish MACD, a possible MACD crossover, so pay attention to it. Similarly, if you go back to the 3-day chart, right, guys, one mistake I made back then was like to ignore this bullish divergence on the 3-day chart on the run up to 10.5, and hopefully you guys not going to make the same mistake, right? So we had a nice bullish divergence on the 3-day MACD, but I was just basically not ignoring it, but not acknowledging it, okay? Because I was already pre-planned for BC to drop down to 5K level, and I was basically basically going by with my bias, right? Not just going strongly going with what the chart is telling me. But currently, all right, currently you can see on the 4-day it's not strong. The divergence kind of like made a small lower lows, but it is still strong enough to call it a divergence, at least for the short term. The 4-day chart. But the 5-day chart, it is cleaner. Okay, it is very, very clean. All right, it is very, very clean for this bullish divergence. So pay attention to it. So if you're bullish, you got a pretty good evidence. You got a pretty good basically pretty good evidence is like why we could be pushing higher. And I'm going to show you the bearishness now. All right, what we're looking for. We don't have much of a bearishness. Besides, volume is going lower, right? Volume is dropping, and then price is making basically higher lows. All right, that's not good. That's not good, at least for the short term. But in terms of 5-day, right, since like we're already making a bullish divergence, right, like this, but volume, even though volume is making a lower highs, right, just like this, your selling volume on the 5-day chart is decreasing. Even if you take a look at it on the 3-day chart, it is also decreasing. It's not like we're receiving like a lot of selling pressure while price is going up, right? So it is something I have to keep in mind. Yes, I'm looking for lower numbers, but BC is starting to turn very, very, very bullish. Basically, until we see like a strong rejection, a strong bearish, okay, strong bearish red candle in this area. Red volume, okay, red volume candle. It has to be red, guys. It has to be red. It doesn't have to, but it is it could be better if this volume at least match like 80% of the previous selling pressure we got within this range, right, up to this level, just like what we got back in 14K when we said like a BC was basically very bearish, and we could be looking for like a lower numbers. Similarly, we're gonna need like a very big volume within this level to basically start like looking for a further move to the downside and look for the Y correction, all right, to the downside. And another thing also, we could be anticipating if we break this trend line, it's going to be doom. Okay, if like we break this trend line, we could be looking for easily this move to be the X, and not X being all the way up here. We know BC going to be dropping. Okay, like I'm anticipating BC to drop, but the question is like, at what price level we're going to be tapping out. That's the only question. So if we, like, all of a sudden, let's say next week we break this level, this trend line, we most likely could be looking for our Y correction, at the same time looking for the macro Z correction to the downside, and then basically after that we could be looking for another bull run and stuff like that, right? So let's keep that in mind. So let's go back to Coinbase. All right, so when we go back to Coinbase, that's basically what I was just trying to explain to you guys. So if you're new to a WXY correction, I'm just gonna repeat it once again for you. All right, so as you can see, we got an impulse wave, three-way move W, we got this move B, and then we got this move to the downside. So we call this entire move WXY. We call this move right there, we call it W, and then we call this one X, and then we're looking for our Y correction. But the Y correction of the macro scale is coming out with a possible WXYXZ correction. So W, X in white, you know, Y in white, and X, another X up to like a 10.5, and the Z all the way down to like a 3 or below. Okay, just say at or below 3K within this level. So this X move, that's a big question. So that's what we talk about every day on a lower degree. That's what we're talking about, you know, when BTC is going to be tapping out. And then after that, as soon as we get a clean rejection, clean selling volume, clean trend line, cleanly breaking the trend line, we could be looking for a further move to the downside, right? At least for the short term. All right, guys, that's all I wanted to cover today. For BTC on the macro scale, and you know, I'm gonna give you guys another update regarding the bullish setup for the macro scale. Also, even though we got a macro scale bearish setup, I'm gonna give you another explanation regarding the bullish setup for BTC. You know, this could be just a pullback, and then this could be a pullback, and then we could be looking for this move to the upside, right? But that's for another session, right? All right, guys, thanks a lot for watching.